What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Daily HiFi Podcast. My name is Chana. With me, as always, we've got Joe and Aaron. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, man?
Up?
Joe, I got your favorite movie, your favorite Atmos movie here on behind me. It's called No Time to Die. Have you heard of it?
Oh yeah. It's my favorite. So impressive.
It is.
Extremely
Actually,
impressive.
I'm testing something out for a patron. He said that he just got an Xbox Series X and they have changed all the audio settings. So the Dolby Atmos setup is completely different now. So it's clearly got to make a new video, but still checking it out.
All right.
Checking it out. What's going on with you guys?
Nothing. I see some folks in the chat here. Fred, True Voice of Reason, Jeremy Anderson, Jed.
What's up,
everybody? Matt. Yeah, I see all you guys. Jeremy, he commented on our video about Oro, of course, and he's a Dolby Atmos guy. Let's just say it as is.
He's on the dark side.
No, yeah, and he knows a lot about it. He's read up, and I told him, why don't you call in later on, because it's just too much to type. And also, it's always an interesting conversation, right?
I mean,
it's not like one of those where like, for sure I'm right, and I just it's a good conversation that we usually have. So it'll be interesting. I think other people might be interested in what we have to say. Jeremy says, I love DTS X2 now. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, actually, I've been seeing a lot more people commenting that they've tried DTS X and they're like, hey, this is actually a lot better sounding than some Atmos movies I've seen. So
does it add a little bit of something to movies that don't have anything? Does it do something?
I mean, isn't that Neural X? Isn't that like its up mixer?
Yeah. I guess you can test it on that movie, your favorite movie right there. Go to that scene, the stairway scene, and see if something's happening when you change it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to change anything. I did want to share with you guys. I got a new universal remote control.
Where's the applause button?
Yeah, you got to do that for yourself, man.
Yeah. Oh, you got a new control? What's up?
Yeah.
Is it awesome or what?
Like, it is a brand new Harmony remote control. New one.
What?
Boom! A new old one.
A new old
eBay.
one.
New old
I was gonna say,
new old one. And it was like, it retail for $40, but I had to pay $150 for this guy. But damn, guess who's got universal control again?
Watch out.
I actually have the gray version of this, but a couple of the buttons have stopped working, like the ones on the screen, like this side. So I just got this guy again. We still have both controls, but I mean, it's kind of hard to find a universal remote control, especially since Harmony, Logitech, made one of the best ones. Should we make one? Do you guys know anybody that can?
What?
That has all that R&D? Yeah, let's make a daily hi-fi universal remote. It'll control everything. It'll control
just be a kid.
Video players, your bidet, whatever you need. Like,
I think Aaron could probably make one out of wood. I've seen his woodworking skills over there, building all kinds of speakers. I see.
No.
Yeah, you can build
I can't. My woodworking skills are terrible, man. I use flat packs all day, every day.
Really?
I
Can't you just convert your clipple into like one of those CNC machines.
I wish. I want a CNC so bad, man. I hate cutting wood. That was funny. I was talking to Greg Timbers. I had him on last night, and I just said, "What's your least favorite thing about DIYing a speaker?" Because mine is cutting the wood. And he said, basically, like, "Yes, me too." Said, okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I used to have my shop, I used to design all the stuff, right? The dimensions. And I had one customer who just had like access to like all kinds of crazy like woodworking stuff. I just give him the stuff and he'd come back the next day with like, here's the wood. Like,
yeah,
all right.
That's nice.
That's easy.
I've got a buddy about an hour up the road. He used to run a custom car audio shop, but he has a CNC from that job. And he also has a laser etcher. And he's like, yeah, anything you want, just let me know. So he's down for it. I just don't want to bug him because he's always busy with his own stuff, But we'll see. I want to start trying to drop out some DIY designs. And when we get to that point, I'm probably going to enlist his help. I'd rather give him some money than me stand outside and sweat to death and get sawdust all over me for a day.
Yeah. So, have you measured the overnight sensations?
Yeah, they're not that good. Yeah, I mean,
V.
I can show you real fast. Give
I'm
it a
curious
second.
about those because, like, you know what? I had fun building them, and I think that they look cool.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like all these
right.
things. And I was, when I heard them, I was like, there's something
Yeah, no, when I heard it,
going on there.
I was just like, what? This is the thing that everybody's been raving about for the past decade? Like, I just don't get it, you know? And then when I measured it, I was like, oh, okay. Like that at least backs up what I was hearing, because I thought surely my ears, because it's all the DIY, it's like the DIY community. Everybody raves about them. So you're thinking, all right, well, it's got to be my ears then, right? But then when I measured it, I was thinking, oh no, yeah, there's definitely
No,
something not right here.
I think they just look cool. It just, to me,
It's a
just makes
fun,
it-
it's a project build, is what it
Yeah.
is. That's what it boils down to. I think it's a good, cheap way to get into that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And it's fun. So here,
I mean,
That's it.
Okay, I knew it.
those are
Yeah.
the results.
That's
So you
how-
gotta like it's almost like what some people have called like the Batman.
Yeah,
head,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you've got the one
Exactly.
ear over here, the head, and the other ear over here. It's a little bit off center.
Yeah.
But yeah, that basically sounds, it's very, very forward, kind of resonant. The mids are gone. The high frequency stuff didn't really bother me so much because it's up here.
Uh-huh.
But this area right through here
Dude.
was annoying. And then that bass bump was kind of annoying too. You can fix this with the tuning. But if I'm looking at it, what I'm thinking is it's a baffle step issue. And I actually started simming it up in, let's see.
Started simping it up.
Simping it up,
I
yeah.
can see that totally.
Simp. You know me, son. Simulating the response. So, and I got basically within like a dB or so, except for the high frequency. So these are the overlay of this the actual completed speaker, and then compared to the simulation of the raw drivers in the enclosure with the simulated crossover. So they're pretty much dead on, except for the high frequency there. I find that's interesting that's a little bit off. It's about 2 dB off.
Huh.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay.
Zooming.
So, hey, how are you feeling better from COVID?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Because I'm kind of liking when you have it. Like we get all kinds of videos, like all kinds of thoughts. I'm selfish, man.
COVID, a reason to make
yes.
YouTube videos.
Cranking it out, dude.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, man. I'm actually playing around with the DIY stuff has kind of reignited me a little bit. So I've ordered some flat packs. I've ordered a couple drivers. I'm going to try to start not cranking out, but do some DIY designs. But then I've got a bunch of clip speakers I've got to test, and I've got the Wharfdale Lintons? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I've got those.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
let's do a project together. I want to do a project where we just make an awesome speaker. Maybe I'll just do some DSP stuff. I don't know. How about I'll just do the design stuff. Forget how it looks.
And bundle it with
make it look cool.
universal remote.
Yeah, it comes with its own universal remote.
Well, it's funny actually. When I bought a 4K Blu-ray player from Best Buy, this actually came with it. And Jeremy said he got one also with his LG. I think I bought a LG too, but I gave it to my brother like 2 years ago. He's like, "Do you have any universal remotes?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I got plenty of those things."
That's awesome.
And then they're out of business.
Hey, real quick,
go figure.
How hot is it over there where you're at right now?
Right now,
it's freaking hot right now.
Oh no, you're asking me or Chana?
Both of you.
Both of us?
It's cold over here, bro.
Cold.
Yeah. For me, it's like 93 degrees outside right now.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm waiting about an hour. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go mow the front yard because it's been way too hot during the week for me to get it done. It's supposed to cool off a little bit.
It's 68 here.
Oh wow, my house is set to 71, and this room, because of all the lights and stuff, is what is it? Oh, you can't
see.
80, 82.
Wow, inside right now.
I was just in LA and like the Friday, it was all like overcast and drizzly in the morning. I'm like, what is going on? Thank goodness I brought a pair of pants or jeans because I just brought shorts. And I'm like, it's gonna be hot down there. Like, nope, not gonna be hot. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to be there next month. And Lindsay, my wife, today was saying, hopefully the weather will be good there. But I reminded her when we were down there in July of last year for a couple of days, it was pretty hot. So then she said, I thought California was supposed to be nice year round. I thought that's why people paid money to live there. I was like, yeah, it gets hot though.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be there in July.
Yeah. Honestly, it's Southern California does have its swings because in the morning on Friday, it was overcast and a little bit drizzly, but come 1, 2 in the afternoon, it was all hot again and sunny. So
yeah,
there you have it. I dropped off the car and the guy's like, you know, I kept on saying green Audi, like you got to see this green Audi, and then like he was just like, whatever. When I dropped it off, but when I picked it up on Saturday, he's like, dude, I finally understand what you were saying. Once the sun came out, there's like gold flakes in this, and like it looks gorgeous. He's like, I've never seen a green like this before. I was like, oh yeah, there you go. Just needed the sun. But yeah.
So what did your wife say? She's like, hey, I heard Joe and Tell is over there and we want to go check out his system. Is that what the plan is?
I think that was the plan. Yeah, she was like, we were talking about the Uber and getting, you know, an Uber from the airport. And she was like, well, Joe and Tell, I think he can just pick us up and take us there.
From what, LAX? He's so far from
Just
LAX,
drive
bro.
us around. Oh man. Somebody HiFinest is asking about Magic Beans and masterclass curriculum. Dude, they keep changing the functionality of the app in a good way. And so I don't want to release it unless I talk about that new thing that it can do, because it's, you know, it's a lot better. Also, I'm also changing up the things that I'm doing because I'm also learning and figuring out new ways to do stuff. So, you know, I guess I could release it now, and then when I figure out something new, I can update it.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. As you guys can see,
I got a 30% off Father's Day promotion from you. I was like, what? I'm like, what does this mean? I'm like, what is, why?
I know, I didn't even put
this
a title. I don't know how to use that thing. I don't know how to use that thing.
Well,
I'm trying though. I'm trying. What else? Somebody saying,
I got something cool to show y'all. I brought this in so I could show you guys. Look, this is a full up 3D printed speaker, except for the drivers. So the drivers aren't 3D printed.
So the box, the enclosure and everything.
Yeah, the enclosure. It's an active design. He's got a separate DSP amplifier like off the side, so he's got the wires just kind of hanging out the back. But I've actually stumbled across it on that. Is it instructables.com website? Yeah. I saw where somebody had linked one of my speaker reviews for this little BMR driver.
Oh, I love BMRs. Let me see. Which one is it? The 2 and 2?
Yeah, it's a little baby one, right? And then it's another.
I've used that one before in a design.
Yeah. So
I like the 3.5 better than that one.
I just reached out to him. I was like, would you be interested in sending that speaker my way? He's like, heck yeah. So he said, I just measured it. And then actually, if you guys want to see it, I can show you the results.
Yeah. That thing doesn't get very loud though, right?
No.
That's the problem with that little BMR.
But, you know, it's not, I don't know. It's kind of cool. He was kind of surprised at what the data showed. He's like, oh, I thought I didn't see that in my results, but that's typical from DIY because they don't really have the resolution they need to get, you know, the really accurate data. Let's see here. Is that good?
Yeah. Can you share it?
Back up? Yeah. That's it. So, I mean, it's not perfect. Again, it's going to be a very resonant box. So that explains all these peaks and dips. It's got a trough right through that mid-range too. Yeah. So that's what he was talking about. He said, I didn't realize that was there, but still I'm like, dude, that's pretty cool.
Is that real narrow area? Is that from the BMR? Is that, what is it?
I think he said he thinks it's a port, and more than likely it is because it's got a front port. And most speakers, when you have a front port, if there's an enclosure resonance or port resonance itself, usually it manifests as a dip in the response.
Do you guys know what a BMR is for the folks out there who are listening?
It's a balance mode radiator. I know it doesn't resonate like a typical driver does. It basically like squishes all the resonances down and it pushes them out. You know,
it's pretty cool actually. Have you seen the little animation of it? Basically, it's like a cone, but like the cone actually vibrates. So you can imagine, I think they have a 3.5 version of that. Who's the company who makes those?
Tectonic,
yes.
Yeah.
They have a 3.5 version that I did a build of just that one driver, and it hits pretty low. So it has some pretty good excursion. I put it in a huge box, so it's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Tectonic.
But it has like some weird,
I heard they got plates all around the world.
They do. Tons of them.
It has some weird dip or some kind of like weird step thing that happens.
Yeah.
And remember, Chana, we saw them at CES. We saw those guys.
Yeah, they make like panels. They make these drivers, but then they make panels too. Like big, thin little panels, like wall mount panels and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I asked them about that like weird response. Yeah. And they said, yeah, they understood. Like, yeah, that's a thing we're working on.
Right. That's cool.
It's a cool idea just from a directivity standpoint.
Right.
Don't they do something different because I guess it's almost like a point source.
Yeah, well, it doesn't beam like a standard cone driver does. I do remember that. Like I said, that little 2-inch driver, before they even released it, I'd seen it on their website, and I sent them an email. This is like 2015 or so, I think, and they sent me some samples. And Parts Express didn't even have them yet. They weren't even released in production yet. So I tested it. I was really surprised by it. Very, very low sensitivity, though.
Oh yeah,
super low. But it depends on what you need. And they were like $12 or $17 when they came out.
Mm-hmm.
But they play clean, like 200 to 20K. As long as you don't try to make them do stupid stuff. I thought it was cool.
They can't produce very high frequencies well. Like the highest frequencies it doesn't do.
Yeah, I don't think you should really use it as a tweeter replacement, but it's a fun project to play along with, and it does okay. It does better with high frequencies than most full range drivers do. I will give it that.
Trying to find, yeah. Anyway, you guys can look it up. Tectonic, TECTONIC,
plates.
EMR. Yeah. What else is going on here in the chat? You guys asking any questions in the chat?
Yeah, actually, does a near field sub need to be EQ'd?
Yeah.
Mike Ortiz. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Much.
So who was it? Kyle, Life of Bliss. He said that the idea is that you should be as close to the sub, the near field sub, as the diameter of the subwoofer itself. So if you're talking about like an 18, you shouldn't be further than 18 inches away from that subwoofer in order to get a decent response. Yeah, but think about it like this. Like if it's on the floor and you're sitting down, how far are your ears from that thing? You know what I mean? Probably further than 18 inches away. So I've done a measurement. Basically I have a SVS that I know measures well. Put it in, put the mic on the seat, and just like very weird response. It basically took out all the bass between 20 hertz to 40 hertz. And even though it can play those frequencies, I think it was just being absorbed or something. I don't know what was happening, but should you EQ them? Probably, yeah. If you want it to sound right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always wind up needing EQ for pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the bass.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yo.
Balance mode radio. Let's see here. If you have any questions, super chats are always welcome. That helps us out because we get to pay Tim for the videos that you guys see on a daily basis.
Wait, we pay Tim? I thought
Tim's like, y'all pay me?
Yeah.
Kidding.
Yeah, he does a great job.
I do know. I'm the one that sends out the payments.
Yeah, sometimes.
I might need a reminder too.
I always love it when Joe's like, hey, Chana, you need to pay Tim. And Chana's like, oh, yeah. But yeah, right, sure. You've already pocketed that. You were hoping nobody would notice.
The first of the month.
Chana says, Tim says it real nice. He just kind of like sends me a message directly and he's like, is the payment, like, is everything working?
Because is everything working properly? You know what was funny? I was at Graveyard Shift the last time, and I was just showing you guys what Harmony remotes are on eBay that are listed as brand new, just in case. Just do Harmony Universal Remote, and then go to condition and select new, and if you need one, there you go. It was like 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. I don't know, something a.m. And Tim sends me a message. Hey, by the way, it's the first. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Totally forgot. Totally forgot. And then like in the afternoon, he's like, hey, I was like, oh shit. I totally forgot that. Sorry, bro.
Dropping hints.
Yeah.
First of the month is a good day of the month, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wake up.
Oh, yes, right. That's a song about collecting your welfare check, which is kind of weird, but
that's why Tim's messaging you.
Daily HiFi. Welfare check.
Welfare, that's right.
Juan Hernandez says, I have gone to the dark side. Yes, just ordered the Denon X4700H. Awesome. Good receiver. I know Joe has the 45.
47.
40.
I have the 45 and 47.
You have both, right?
Yeah.
Jeremy Anderson says Jurassic Park and DTSX does a decent job, but that was already a good mix in 5.1. Now the Harry Potter movies incredible in DTSX. So if you guys like Harry Potter, or even if you don't, check it out. Check it out. And Clay Joe says, Techno Dad, those Dream Media videos at your place and at work are so cool. So thanks for everybody watching those. I think we shot 6-7 videos, and they're releasing them every Saturday. So go check out Dream Media if you like for that stuff. Yeah.
Luda.
I just released a unboxing video of the Klipsch RP600 M2s.
Oh yeah.
Was there anything inside of there?
What's that?
Was there anything inside of there?
Was there anything inside? Yeah, the speakers.
Look, I think if you're going to do unboxing, you should do it live, and then when you drop it, everybody sees it.
Oh, like that TV that the camera caught it.
I found one good reason to do unboxings. I personally don't like to watch any unboxings.
Yeah.
But one good reason is if it's messed up.
Yep.
And you unbox it, and it's like, oh, you see it's messed up, right? You see.
Yep.
You see it. You know what I'm talking about? So anyway, I don't like doing unboxings, but people watch them. I don't get it, and I figured I have to unbox it anyway. It doesn't take that much effort to film it. Well, it does. It does take effort to film it, but I figured
you don't really have to edit it. Though.
I didn't talk in it. I just didn't talk.
Yeah.
I just did an unboxing. That's it. The end. Zero talking. So compromise.
Whoop.
I do have a couple of things came in. A new subwoofer, the 12 XT X Plus from X12 Plus from Miller and Kreisel.
Oh yeah, that thing looks pretty beast.
Dude, thank goodness I had my cart here. I wouldn't have been able to get into the guest room if it wasn't. It's heavy.
What kind of certification does that have? Doesn't that have some kind of
crazy... the Dominus?
Does?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
it's real deal. Shots fired to all subwoofer manufacturers out there. It's the THX Dominus.
So
and I can imagine it's probably like $3,000. I don't know. It's a 12-inch with the dual push pull. I haven't opened it. It's just
how large is that compared to your dual rails?
It's a little bit shorter than those two. It might actually be the same size. I haven't. From the box looks bigger than both rails. Coincidentally, rail has new 1508 Predators that they're going to send me. I think the difference is that they've added XLR inputs and outputs on them, so they're more of a home theater subwoofer.
I was gonna say if they added DSP, I would laugh.
You would laugh. They're not gonna. John Hunter's there. He's their lead engineer guy. They're not putting DSP in there.
Okay.
Also, I got the Arcam AVR11, which is sitting right here. And then Sony said they were going to send me a 55-inch OLED next week. But as I was down in LA, Sasha's like, hey, I think somebody's here to deliver a TV. Oh. And it wasn't a 55-inch, it was a 65-inch. And so she had to muscle it in here. And it was on like half a pallet or something like that. And I'm like, and when I get home, I open up and it was like wrapped in like black shrink plastic thing. Open it up and I was like, oh, they sent a 65. And I'm sure they're like, hey, we're going to hook him up. Yeah. He only asked for a 55. We're going to send him the 65. And this whole thing doesn't fit 65-inch TVs. So now I got to find a place for it. Cause she could have checked it out and like refused the delivery, but I don't know when Sony would send me another one. So I'm like, I just got to deal with it. Yeah. But yeah, pretty crazy. And the sucky part is I have 3 weddings coming up this weekend. I got a wedding Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I don't know how much unboxing or review stuff I'll be doing this week. I do have a cool short about the best travel case for your Xbox. This guy right here. So if you guys have an Xbox Series X and need to take it around somewhere, this thing is legit. I'll have a video out tomorrow. And it's like under a minute, so you should watch the whole thing. Yeah.
The best
Xbox. It's even got this airtight. It's actually waterproof too. It's air and waterproof with padlock locks, like 2 of them. So if somebody at LAX or wherever gets through one, you can get, there's another one there.
Yeah, I've got a microphone kit that JL Audio makes. They released like late last year, and it's like that. It's fully sealed, and it was so freaking hard. I had to get a screwdriver to pop it open because the pressure inside was so it was so dense that I couldn't open it up on my own. I had to get a screwdriver and pry it open to release the pressure to get it open the rest of the way. It was crazy. Only time I've ever seen that. So that I know what you're talking about. Otherwise, I'd have had no clue.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, cool, somebody wrapped it with shrink wrap.
I mean, if you're, no, it's crazy, dude. Crazy. Boxcar P says, Techno Dad, that look behind the scenes of your DJ gig was impressive and eye-opening. There's a lot to working that job. Yeah, no, definitely. Like that deck that I DJ on, I don't know, like 150, 180, maybe 200 feet long. So literally when I got that gig, I was just like, I got that first $3,000 check. I'm like, boom, new PAs. Let me get those new PAs. And then as soon as I used the one pair of those new PAs, I was like, crap, I got to buy a second pair. So went home, boom, bought the second pair. So $6,000 in speakers was spent in like a span of 2 weeks. I was just like, ouch. But whatever. The monthly checks kept coming in from that gig, which totally paid for all of that stuff. And then I got to use it. It sounded great. People that, come to the ski resort, they're not expecting that. And some people will come up to me that aren't even skiing or snowboarding, like their kids or their grandkids are watching. They're like, they come up and like, man, this one lady was like, I wouldn't have made it that 4 hours if you weren't here playing music. So thank you so much. Yeah, that's really what it's all about. People enjoying themselves. And then of course, see people dancing and stuff. And then the whole UCLA crew was there a few weeks into spring. They do the undie run. So they all go skiing and snowboarding in their bikinis and unfortunately some banana hammocks. So both of you grown.
Clearing my throat.
Yeah. But no, it's a great, it took me 10 years of knowing, having to know the right people to actually get that gig for, every weekend in winter. So, and I started DJing 20 some years ago. Anyway, yeah, there you go, Boxcar P. A little info for you.
So earlier they were saying that you got kicked off of ASR, Aaron.
Yes, I got kicked off of ASR.
Somebody got banned.
I told you I didn't mind talking about it, but now I'm like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Yeah, so that's fine. It's easy. I posted a video about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, and some of the people here may have seen it. They may know what I'm talking about, but it was binaural mic. I'm trying to find the mics around here. Anyway, of 3 different speakers, and the goal was for people to just try to listen to soundstage effects and see if they could, what differences they heard. And I knew in terms of like tonality and stuff, it wasn't going to be perfect, even though I tried to EQ them to the same. It's that, so whatever. I just was like, well, we'll try something different. So then I posted on ASR, which the only time I really post anything on ASR is, at least like in the last maybe year or so, has been my interview type videos, and those aren't monetized. So I was like, it's not a big deal. And this particular video wasn't monetized either. So I thought it would be cool and different, for people on that forum, and they might enjoy it, to go and partake in that. And a couple people replied, and then I replied back to them. I said, hey, that's cool, but do you mind leaving your comments in the video itself on YouTube so I can keep up with the stuff? Because, I don't want to bounce around to different websites and have to scroll and do all this. Just, and if that thread had became long, then it's just one more thing to have to go through. So I said, in addition to posting here, would you mind also posting there? And I mean, to me, that was it. And then later on that night, somebody messaged me and they said, hey, I replied to that thread, but it's not there anymore. Did you delete it? And I said, no. And it turns out Amir had deleted it. And I was like, that's whatever. That's kind of weird, but okay. I'm not going to say anything about it. I don't care. And then the guy went and started a thread basically saying that, it shouldn't have been deleted.
You suck. Is that?
Yeah, like he was like, it shouldn't have been deleted. And then Amir was like, well, Aaron was telling people to go to his place or another place or something and take comments off of here. And I was like, well, that's not entirely true, because, if you quote the actual part where I said go to both, and it's not like I was monetizing the video, and it's not like I was sending them to my website. The other site was YouTube. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, he deleted it. And then the next day I woke up and I went to go on the forum, just check messages and whatever, and saw that I had been banned due to spamming the forum. Now,
Yeah.
Amir has had this out for me for a while, and he's always said that he thinks I spam the forum. And I get it. Like, I used to have like my review, and I used to say at the bottom, hey, if you want to donate, whatever. And I didn't really think much about it, but when he said something about it, I quit doing it. He also said the same thing about Amazon affiliate links in 2021. I have receipts. All this stuff I have receipts for because I'm super. I'm super.
What is this? What is this? The real housewives of YouTube?
I keep screenshots of everything because I know a snake when I see one. I'm telling you, dude. When I talk to a snake, I know it, and I keep receipts on everything from then on.
Talk to a snake? Damn.
I'm telling you, dude.
Woo!
I'm telling you because people will manipulate situations any chance they get. So anyway,
you can't screenshot my Facebook Messenger. I'll bombard you. Like, your phone will run out of space.
Oh no. It's only when I think something's up. So anyway,
you can't handle that.
Yeah, I'll do the short version of this. So yeah, I was banned, and now that's kind of it. It's just like, all right.
Yeah.
So
well, I kind of get both sides. So
yeah,
I understand. Like, I don't want to go to another place to respond. You know what I mean? Like, it's just another thing. Like, because I'm also a member there, and the emails just keep coming in. There's another email. And, okay, let me go back. Oh, somebody just liked something. Oh, okay. So it's constantly like,
yeah.
I don't want to get a notification all the time, right?
Right.
And so I get that. And especially when you're also getting a ton of comments and responses on your own channel. So it's not like that's the only thing that you're seeing. You're seeing that and all the other stuff that you're seeing from your own channel.
Right.
So I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, and I get Amir's side of it too. He basically he doesn't like me. I think that's the real truth, and I think he was looking for a reason to legitimately ban me from his forum, and I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think what really kicked it off, if I'm being honest, he had done the review for the GR research speaker, and there's some real funky resonances on that response, and it looked to me like maybe the cabinet was not constructed properly. And I didn't say that in the thread. I just said something looks weird, and I mentioned it a few times. And I was like, maybe investigate this a little bit more. And I wasn't critical or anything. I just said this doesn't look right. I've been doing this for a long time, and I think that got underneath his skin. And I think he saw that opportunity. He's like, yeah, I'm going to ban Aaron for this. But honestly, man, I think it's for the better because it's just another forum that I was spending too much time on anyway.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's. I mean, I'm like, dude, this is audio. I mean, are we really that upset over somebody posting a link to a YouTube video? Yeah. But so the irony of all that stuff is, like,
you could
let's
say
go
this is audio #cables. Like,
let me just play devil's advocate for a second, okay?
Yeah.
So, like, what would be the reason for you posting there in the first place, right? To reach that audience, no?
I get it because I thought it would be cool. Like I said, video wasn't monetized. I wasn't going for clicks. I wasn't going for money. Video wasn't monetized because I had a song in it. And even though the song said it was copyright free, I was like, I don't know. So I'm not going to try to monetize this video.
I get it. So in your mind, you're like,
it was just a cool
because I think you guys might enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy what
the title of the thread even says something like a fun experiment. And if you guys want to try or something like literally the title was something along those lines. It was like, go check it out. You might enjoy it. It might be fun to play around with, but
so it sounds like your intentions is not to go in there like, let me extract some let me get some people over to my channel from here, right? That's not the intention.
I think where you went wrong was that you had fun in the title. So we could just equate to ASR, no fun. Aaron,
fun. I don't want to do that. There's a lot of good guys on there. There's
I'm just joking.
Yeah. There's a lot of good guys on there, but I think that was for Mir. That was like, that's the last straw. He saw it as an opportunity to ban me for spam. I think that was a bit much, but it's his forum, so that's fine, man.
I don't know, man. I like spam. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Honestly, like wrapped in some seaweed.
I could totally understand it if it had been something where it would have been monetized, and what I'm saying, like, I get that, but whatever. I'm over it. But since you asked, I thought it would be fun to have some drama because honestly, that's what sells. So the thing I notice about all this audio stuff is if you create drama. So there's like Danny Ritchie, there's the Jay Iyagi, there's all that drama. There's Danny calling out reviewers with Andrew Robinson and Gene. There's Amir reviewing Danny's video or Danny's speakers. And I think I'm going to say it. I've already said it. I think the speaker build was faulty. I do. It's easy to disprove that, but based on what I saw, I think the speaker build was faulty because there was some resonance that should not have been there. I don't care how good somebody's resolution is for impedance sweep. It's freaking obvious. So take the driver out, sweep it, verify, put it back in. You're good to go. That's all that needed to be done. But yeah, man, there's so much drama. And it's like, it kind of, if I'm being honest with you, a couple nights ago, I saw some of these videos pop up and it kind of pissed me off because they get all these views. They get all these freaking views and it's just a bunch of old dudes bitching. Right? I'm like, this doesn't help at all.
Well, you know,
it's just frustrating, man.
In the like TV review space, there's that one guy that like made this hit piece video on me in like 2018. And then like recently he started going after, well, first he started showing his face finally after all these years, because, you know, why would you hide your face in a YouTube video unless you're really lame? Anyway, he started like dissing on like Elden Ring. I don't know, some video game. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
And it caused all these channels that have like over 1 million subscribers and stuff to like start making videos about him. And like, dude, those videos get tons and tons of views because it's just drama. And like, yeah, you want to roll that way, or you could just, you know, do your thing and not really. Here it is. Real Husbands of HiFi. Angela.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right.
For the win.
I think it's because of engagement, right? When somebody feels very strongly about something, they're gonna go comment. They have to say something. Whereas, like, if you don't have an opinion on something, you're like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, I think sometimes opinions are forced. In my opinion, I think sometimes people are forcing a standpoint. You know, generating content for the sake of generating content. Well, I mean, it's like when 50 Cent came out, how did he get his name? Or I'm sorry, when Eminem came out, how did he get his name? Right? He dissed a lot of celebrities, right? And then when 50 Cent came out, he dissed The Power of a Dollar. He dissed like tons of rappers, dissed Jay-Z, and Jay-Z mentioned his name, and that got 50 Cent a ton of like attention, right? So that's how the world works, you know? And so that's how it works. And there's videos from Joe. You had some guy make a video, like a reaction video to you, and people do that for attention. And it's like, yeah, I guess I could do that. And I kind of did that up until last year when I realized like, yo, that's not the way I want to roll.
I just try to nip it in the bud though, real quick. Like,
it's just ridiculous, man.
He said this thing. I'm like, hey, you know what? That's enough. That's enough of this. Stop with this.
Yeah, I don't want to do this whole internet drama. Like, I'd rather just see you face to face and we'll discuss it. If somebody can film that and we'll upload it to our channel.
I think I remember it was like 2017 or 2018. I forget which year. But I met up with Jolster from the YouTube channel Jolster G4K, and we were checking out the Sony PlayStation event because they had a lot of VR and stuff like that. And so we were just waiting in line to get into the thing. I'm like, and we were talking. I'm like, hey, so Jolster, if I ever start any kind of drama or beef with you in the comments, it's purely just a joke. Just play along. He started laughing. He's like, yeah, okay. I never did, but like,
you should have done it, man.
Funny.
You should have done it.
Funny to see what actually happens. And I mean, look, Ike is going to start a beef video with Youth Man.
There you go.
Dude, Ike, if you want me to, I'll edit it because my editing skills are terrible. So it'll be even better. It'll be like raw and gritty. It'll be straight up street.
Super silly skits. As people just put mean things on the internet to get attention and views. It really shouldn't be that way. But unfortunately, some people are jerks. You know what? Absolutely. I'll tell you something funny.
Absolutely.
I posted on my channel that, you know, like I was saying, there's 30% off. You go to AV's masterclass, you know, I was just trying it out. And somebody actually signed up with the email, Joe knows nothing or something like that. Joe at knows nothing. I'm like, dude,
you can't even be mad at that.
Time to do that? Like, why would you take
you love me so much, right? Oh man, there's so much toxicity out there. There's a and totally, I don't care if this is audio related or not. It's just it's getting off base, but I think it's important to talk about as like a YouTube person. You have to just deal with stupid stuff. Now, luckily, I don't really have to deal with it much, but I stumbled across a forum where all it is people making fun of like YouTube influencers and stuff, like Disney influencers, like clothing influencers, and it's just, dude, like the hatred and vitriol that is spewed like on these. I'm like, oh my God, people really are pathetic. Like that's how they spend their entire day, is making fun of somebody. And they're like, oh, I just watched the newest video and it was blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but you just watched their newest video, you dummy. Like, what are y'all doing? It's so crazy, dude. It's so, but I learned the term hate watching So that's the
Hate
thing.
watching.
Hate watching.
Hate watching.
Watching.
Is this new?
I don't know if it's new, but
Is this
it's
like me
the term.
watching not watching No
guilty
Time to
of
Die
that.
right now?
Yeah, so watching
guilty
somebody
of that.
like was straight hating on them the whole time. Like,
Well,
wow.
you want to see somebody like do bad, right? Like I used to watch.
Like I want to see somebody get beat up if they're being a jerk, but that's a little bit different.
That's
I think that's
different.
why like a lot of people watch Conor McGregor, right? They
Oh
wanna see
yeah,
him
yeah.
that
get
is
beat
true.
up. I used to watch Mayweather because he talks so much trash. Like, oh, I hope somebody gets him this time.
Yeah,
Finally.
yeah, that's true.
Nobody ever does because he's too good. And so it's just it works, right? Those
It
guys
does.
are making tons of money because they're like, yeah, watch.
It's like that Logan Paul kid or Jake. Is it Jake Paul or Logan Paul?
Those-
either of the
both
two.
guys.
Yeah, but the one that's the box. Well, the main, the
Yeah,
one
yeah,
that's
They
more
both
well
box
known.
now.
Yeah,
They both-
the older brother, I guess, is the more well known boxer. But he's raking in money just for showing up to a fight. It's like,
exactly.
I guess.
with
Younger one
his
does
like
better.
most expensive Pokemon card on around his neck. Like,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy
Like,
stuff.
what
man.
is this?
Yeah, it's
$1
crazy.
million Pokemon card.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, but hate watching, huh? That's a thing.
Hate watching is what it's called, man.
I'll tell you, I'm guilty of that. I hate watch the Amber Heard. Like I want to see her just saying silly stuff because I'm like, oh,
Did
this,
you see?
she's just
did
gonna
you
come
see
out
the
and
clip?
lie about everything.
Did you see the clip? It was trending on Twitter a few days ago. Like Shannon Sharp, like one of the sports commentators, even retweeted it where she said something about Johnny Depp's lawyer was able to convince the world to believe something that a man with scissors for his hands had or said or something like that. And it's like, and then people were like, hold on, does she really think that he has scissors for his hands? It's so funny, man.
It's just funny. Like that's
Oh,
one
man.
thing. I'm like, yeah, I want to see this lady, you know, because you tricked everybody at first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I definitely
see-
think they both did some bad stuff, but I didn't follow along with it much other than just
I loved the times when Johnny Depp just described what blacking out was. Like,
Oh, I
and,
didn't
like
even
some
see
of it, like hearing about some of his like, yeah, I've been up for like 7-8 days with no sleep. It's like it's just a like sheer like this guy was partying. It was gnarly, dude. Like
was
some of those
hardcore.
things was just crazy to hear.
it was
you know,
hardcore.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Where's
Johnny Depp back
So-
in like 90s, 80s, whatever. No.
where
So audio.
is,
Port a tweeter, everybody. Look, it's
Oh
yeah.
no. What is that?
Chana,
So
you replied, you were like, what the heck is that? I just
I
laughed.
said no, just no.
Yeah, that's what it was. So I just laughed. It's
ported
interesting.
Ported
Jeremy
tweeter so it
Anderson,
can
I'm
get
glad
real
you're-
low.
I'm glad Jeremy Anderson's still here. Let me see something. Jeremy,
Isn't he the guy who loves Atmos?
yeah, he
Oh,
loves.
I'm
Atmos.
sorry.
He
No.
definitely
He hates Atmos and loves Oro because he always
Oh,
talks about
yeah.
how great Oro 3D is.
This-
he really
this
should
is-
call in.
This is for Jeremy only. I want Jeremy to call in. Hold on, this is just an invitation to Jeremy.
He's right next door to like
He's-
Aaron. He can just go over and just be on the show.
Yeah, man. Yeah, all of us in Alabama just live right next door to each other.
I told him.
Just like everybody in LA.
Yeah, right.
I told him he should give me a call. Oh, there he is. I
Uh-oh.
hope
that
that's
him?
I hope that's
Or
him.
that's
Well, I'm
somebody
gonna go
else.
check out of this conversation.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Is this Jeremy?
No, this is Wilfred von Balen.
Damn, Wilfred, you have
Wilfred.
no accent. You
Yeah,
go
man.
to a
Oh,
voice coach?
dude.
That's good, dude.
I've given up the Austrian accent for Southern Alabama.
It was all
Yes.
a ruse.
Hey, man, you've got to have a new career now, so acting seems like a good one.
Yeah, you got to change it up.
I don't know. Acting doesn't work out so well. I watched that death trial, and that's some scary stuff.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. So yeah, we've talked a lot, especially in the comments. How many pages worth of text do you think we've had back and forth?
You guys need to get a room.
I know, right? I was gonna say, well, look out, Angela.
I type like 100 words a minute, and when I get on a tear, I sometimes do that without thinking. But
Yeah. So
it probably is way easier for us to actually talk.
I figured. Dolby Ambassador is calling, says Easy HT Tech. All right. So yeah, usually we talk when it has something to do with Oro. I feel like you have a notification, like like a Google notification. Whenever that's posted, you're just there. Boom, you just show up. How's that?
It's nothing that nefarious. So
What's that?
He says not that nefarious.
that nefarious.
Yeah, no, but you're almost always, if there's something Atmos related or Oro 3D related, I'm gonna find you in the comment.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
But it's all
Well,
good.
I made the comment about, how sometimes people get a little evangelical about RO.
Mhm.
And I find that anytime I even mention it, I immediately know it's a mistake because it's going to turn into a long comment thread.
Well, you heard what we were just talking about before this about drama, right?
That's yeah.
So wink, wink. I think
nudge.
I think you're the one who's
You're the king of the
one who's
drama. Is that
all
what you're
about
saying, Joe?
Dolby Atmos. I don't even think they need it. They're number one. They got all this money. They're killing it here in the U.S. I don't think they need help. I think they're good.
Oh, I don't call myself their marketing wing by any stretch. I do enjoy it. I like DPSX, and there are things about Aura that I like. But each has a different approach,
Mhm.
and I want to come right out and say right now, I'm not dancing on Oro's grave because I don't think they're going anywhere. A lot of people are jumping the gun on that. Filing for bankruptcy just means they're probably going to be restructuring. It doesn't mean they're going away. There's too much involvement overseas for them to just disappear.
I told Wilfried to hire me for marketing here in the U.S. If they I don't know what they're doing. I'm like, you know what? Just hire me. I got you.
I mean, we've kind of been doing it like
I know.
unofficially for quite some time.
I was
Let's
partially
be real.
joking, but I'm actually like partially serious. Like I want to see what it's all about. But so for the people who don't know, you've read, what have you read about Dolby Atmos?
I mean, you name it, I've probably read it. I've been over the home certification guide, the mixed room certification, the theatrical, all of their white papers, most of the patents. I've looked at some of DPS's just to wrap my head around the differences between the two.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you want to explain to people what Dolby Atmos doesn't do well in their diagrams that annoys you? Why don't you just tell them here? Because usually you say it you should have a copy and paste, because I've seen you say it so many times, right? Why don't you explain it here? What's wrong with the diagram that Dolby Atmos puts out? Why is that confusing?
The diagrams for the home always show the height rows in line with the main.
Hold on, let me bring it up. What do I look up? Diagram, layout, something like that. There we go. I think I can.
Yeah, Dolby Atmos speaker layout.
Okay, let me see here if I can pull this up. Okay, so we know what you're talking about here. Here we go. Is this okay? I don't know if you can see it or not. It's the 5.1.2.
5.1.2.
It's for simplicity's sake.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
So, yeah. So in that diagram, people look at that and immediately think, okay, well, the heights are supposed to go in line with the mains.
Right.
But when you actually start looking at the theatrical guidelines, they're not in line with the mains. In fact, when Dolby was first creating Atmos, they had their height rows on trellises so that they could move them in and out to determine what the best placement was. And basically they ended up with, this was part of the renderer design too. So the renderer actually assumes that they are at 1/4 and 3/4 of the width of the room.
Okay, hold on a second.
Doesn't necessarily mean
1/4 and 3/4. Okay.
Because in the renderer, the actual coordinates are 0.25 and 0.75 for those rows. That's where the renderer says they're supposed to be. When you take that logic and translate it out, though, that's not necessarily the case. In the theatrical space, the surrounds, since they're already pretty elevated and they didn't want people to have to move them down, they do adjustments to where they keep a minimum and maximum angular separation between them. So part of those mixed room guidelines and the theatrical guidelines as well is that, say, if your side surrounds are elevated 20 degrees, then each height row should be 45 degrees plus half of whatever your side surrounds are. So you actually end up with the height rows about 55 degrees from either side.
You got to simplify this a little bit, because
I know. It
I-
sounds
I'm-
crazy.
So the heights are supposed to be a quarter, right? Here and here.
Most of the time when you're talking about your average room with an 8-foot ceiling,
Uh-huh.
you can put them at 1/4 and 3/4 the layout width apart
Uh-huh.
and be perfectly fine. Now the home guide has that in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It says that the heights should be 0.5 to 0.7 times the layout width apart. The 0.5 is really what they're shooting for. And when we say layout width, we're not talking about the width of the room. We're talking about the width between the two widest speakers, which normally would be your side surround, pretty much without fail.
Mm. So
So
where would you put these? The ones in this picture here, are those not in the right place? In the 5.1.2 setup?
They would actually go a little narrower. It would basically be almost halfway between the center and left, center and right.
Here?
Now, if you look
Yeah,
at the
up there.
distance,
Right here?
No,
No?
further into the room.
No?
So basically halfway between the left and the center. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. So right
Now,
there.
You would still have them in a 5.1.2. You'd still have them that far forward.
Okay.
That
Oh,
would be
so he's
fine.
just saying narrowing it so it's almost like above the couch a little bit. From that document.
Now, a lot of people try to space them out wider because they think of it in terms of coverage. Like you don't want somebody who's sitting directly underneath it, like if you've got a wide couch, to not get the same effect. But that's really thinking about it as channels. Atmos doesn't treat it like channels as much as
There we go.
the room itself.
All right.
You're
What's wrong
trying
with
to-
this 5.1.4 setup? On this is from Dolby's website. You see the height?
Yeah.
And these are not in the
Yeah.
correct place according to their other documentation?
Yeah, well, according to that same guide, actually, if you look at their home speaker layout guide, they actually do say 0.5 times the layout width to 0.7. They give a wide range because they're trying to generalize for the average consumer.
Okay.
They don't want there to be a barrier of entry. But if you're talking about enthusiasts who want to know where is this actually supposed to be, it's the 0.5 times. And 9 times out of 10, that's all you have to do to get it right.
Can you tell me where to place my mouse? Like where's this 0.5? I'm trying to understand.
The rows going, from the front of the room to the back should basically be halfway between the left and the center and the right in that room.
Okay. Here, and how far side to side should they be?
That's
Based on
what I'm
an
talking
angle?
about, the actual rows.
Okay.
I'm
still
talking about,
confused.
laterally. So the problem you have is if you space them too far apart, they blend too much with the side surround.
I see.
You don't get enough of an angular separation. All of this in the home is kind of a compromise because, in the theatrical space, you've got an array that goes from the front of the room to the back. So when people get hung up on, the patent nonsense between Oro and Dolby and 30 degrees and
That's
45
Chana.
degrees and all that.
You're speaking about Chana right there.
They've got those speakers, if you actually sat in a real theater that's done right, there will be speakers from 30 degrees, 45. It's a constant line above you.
Yeah, because 30 is
In
the best.
home,
He's trying to bait you. Look out, Jeremy. He's trying to bait you.
It is.
I mean, I always say, like, look, you want people were always saying, like, I have the quote unquote by the book Atmos setup, and in my head I'm like, well, which book are you referring to? Which one's by the book? And if you're talking about the like this one, like even you, Jeremy, are saying like, no, those should be in a little bit more. So
Okay.
it's like how do people can people get a straight answer? How do we get a straight answer out of this? That's the question.
it really is confusion caused by their diagrams. Where if you actually read the text and follow the angles that you're supposed to set things up to, it will almost never look like that diagram. But what
Hmm.
people do is they look at the diagram and base it on that instead of actually reading what that diagram is supposed to convey.
You know what I
So
think
if
you
you've
should
got your
do?
main-
I think it would be awesome if somebody could just like email you their layout and then you just charge them like, all right, this is the proper place. Like I don't want to know about any of this stuff. Just like
You don't
just
need to
tell me
know
where they're-
anything
Just tell
behind
me
it.
where.
Just tell me where to put
Give
the
me the
damn
answer.
speakers, and we'll go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's all I want.
Well,
Forget all this angular
uh,
separation.
believe it or not, Dolby has kind of done the work for us at this point. They have an Excel spreadsheet called the Dolby Atmos Room Design.
Mhm. Where's
tool,
that?
and,
Where is this? It's
on
probably
their
really confusing
professional
to
site.
normal people.
But basically, with that Excel spreadsheet, it's for creating mix rooms, but the same logic applies for the home.
What's the name of
If
it
you're
again?
doing the Dolby Atmos Room Design tool.
Room design tool. Okay. Okay.
So with that, you can actually put in your room's dimensions, and it will basically give you, you can down to where your main listening position would be,
All right, I'm gonna copy and paste this in.
and it will basically show you a three-dimensional view of where everything would be.
All right. So I
And
just
you can
pasted the
actually
link
get
there.
super granular with it if you want to go crazy. You can put in your speaker specs and amplifier power, etc., and it'll tell you if everything is enough,
Okay.
to reach reference level.
All right.
I don't know exactly
Well,
how
if
they're calculating that.
if somebody still doesn't understand normal people, don't tweet or says I'm being very rude. I think it may sound rude, but we talk a lot. Like we've talked enough so I can say stuff, and it's not like he's a complete stranger. So sorry if it came off that way. Did you take it as rude when I said normal people don't understand? Or is that
you
a
should
diss
say,
on
I mean, you
to
should
normal
probably
people?
say the vast majority of
Vast
people,
majority.
right?
Okay.
Like that,
Well,
I think that's more PC, I guess.
Okay, let me
think.
just say this. What I meant is I think that the stuff that I'm into is super like to the point of very nerdy, to the point where normal is like a compliment. I think Jeremy and I are talking about stuff where like people are, I don't expect them to be that interested.
Sure.
So that's what I
that
mean.
makes sense.
So yeah, I think people just want an answer. This is my layout. Give me the answer, and that's it.
Yeah.
So let me just say this then.
Dolby,
Go ahead.
I have to say, Dolby doesn't make some of this easy because of the way Dolby Atmos is sent transmission-wise. Because the issue I have with an Aura layout would be that you leave such a large gap above the listener if you only have 4 height speakers and don't have the voice of God.
God.
Let's talk about that then.
I
mean, I've seen. Sorry to cut you off here.
Dolby and what they're doing is that ideally the way that you could fill in that gap would be you would have 30 degrees front and rear height and then have top mids, which would work great for Oro. But when you get to Dolby, a lot of content, unfortunately, is done to where the heights are static objects. So they don't pan through the front and rear height. And a matter of fact, with those, they'll just be quiet.
Right.
Have you done any experiments yourself to see how well you're able to resolve based on the location of those speakers? Because there's many experiments like that, right? To see how many speakers you actually need before you start not being able to tell the difference between hundreds of, or I don't know how many speakers, a ton of speakers versus, 15 or 21, I think that above our head, our resolution, our ability to locate stuff is not very good.
No.
Anyway.
No.
So I don't know that we need so many speakers to be so precise.
I would agree.
I mean, I've tested that.
And I think Dolby's top front and rear layout is a compromise to achieve what they achieved in the theater. Like, because in the theater you actually have speakers from front to back, and individually addressable. You can put anything there. At home, what you're trying to do is have both overhead sound and everything in between, because Atmos is not just either or. There are
Right.
a lot of dynamic objects that move between the layers. So if you don't have your speakers placed properly, or if you have them spaced so that you get, I mean, it's an either or thing. If you've got them spaced right, you get both.
Mhm.
If you have them spaced so that you get good elevation from ear level to the height, you tend to miss out on the overhead. If you place them for great overhead, you don't get any steering between the two layers.
Yeah. Oh, well, I went to the SVS room and they were doing some Dolby Atmos demos, and they were only using two Atmos on the left and right. So I don't think that that's according to spec, right? Like the what do you call it? The
Their
Atmos
prime
height
elevation
channels were like
speakers,
just up on the on wall, right? On wall.
adjacent to the like left and right of the main listening position, right?
Yes.
I've seen that's their like travel setup that they
Yeah,
use
you've seen their
at
setup.
trade shows. Yeah,
And I'll tell you, the sound from the movie that they were demoing was very immersive. And I think it's because we're very good at hearing the sounds, directly on the sides of our head, right? So even though that's not an optimal position, like I was really hearing those sounds. Now I don't know if that's exactly where the person designed for that sound to be, right? But I just know that I was able to tell that there was something going on up there easily.
Yeah,
because of the placement.
And if you're playing one of those mixes that just has two static heights anyway, Ready Player One is a good example. Sounds amazing, but if you have 4 height channels, it's really just playing
the two, right?
So that the image is above you.
I think I remember you saying that like they only use 712 or something for Ready Player One.
Yeah, they use static objects in that mix with no dynamic movement at all.
It
sounds amazing.
It was Spider-Man Far From Home or something like that.
No Way Home.
It was the one where the
Home
dude
on the Range
with a globe on his head.
I forget, dude. One of those home ones.
So anyway, so how about this? What would you say if somebody said, okay, you're saying it's much better if you have it laid out this way, you're going to have a much better experience. And what I would say is, who cares if there's nothing happening up there at all anyway? Like, it doesn't matter if they're the, perfect placement, but let's say in the example that Chana has that movie behind them, right? Was that the scene?
No time for Atmos.
There was nothing happening up there. So who cares if it's placed properly, if there's nothing happening up there?
Well, I think we discussed this in that thread. Every mixer has their own style. These are just tools available to them. Not every mixer is going to make the same choices. So that was true of back when 7.1 came out. You had a lot of people that didn't know what to do with it. Then you had people like Gary Rydstrom who mixed the hell out of it throughout Pixar movies with Dolby EX and then moving into actual 7.1, where it's constantly in use. Even his Atmos stuff is outstanding. But in the case of No Time to Die, it's not that those guys aren't good at their job. There are spots in that movie where they actually made interesting use of it. You might argue they only had 3 weeks to do that mix.
Yeah. Like that is another
not very much
limitation,
time,
right? It's like the time/money for adding Atmos, right?
Yeah. And I think some of them still don't quite know what to do with it.
You mean the mixing engineers don't know what to do with it yet?
Yeah, they're not sure. A lot of it comes down to there's 3 different approaches going on between these 3 formats. You have Atmos, which is basically steering around the room. So wherever they steer it in a virtual room, your system's trying to recreate it in that same location. DTSX is more of a hemispherical panner, where they could put a speaker anywhere in that dome and their renderer would know how to put a sound there. Another aspect of that is that they have their Neural X upmixing involved with that too. So if there's ambient sounds that are just mixed in the ear level speakers, some of that can actually get moved overhead just from the up mixer being active in real time. Oro is more of a recreation of a sound environment. That was what their research was. And Joe and I have been back and forth on this, where they actually had mic arrays set up to point at their individual speaker positions so they could record the sound of a space and then do a pretty good job of recreating the sound of that space in your room. So ideally, Dolby would incorporate some of these other better ideas, like upmixing to handle some of that, to where the mixer doesn't have to think about it as much. You still get some overhead involved without it.
Yeah, I mean, that's so. Let's say, for example, this movie where nothing's happening in that stairwell scene in a very reflective space, and yet nothing is happening in the height speakers. You're saying that, they only had 3 weeks to do it, but I'm trying to watch an action movie. I spent the time and the money to set up a nice system, and there's nothing happening up there, right? And so I'm not. The complaint is more like, what did I do all this for? Isn't this the movie to watch? Right? It's a good movie to watch for this type of thing. There's nothing happening up there. So why wouldn't I? What's wrong with me wanting to use something like Oro to at least give me some ambient space? Like give me the feeling that I'm in this
actually in that room or something,
reflective space. Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Everybody has their own preferences, and if that's what you want to do, rock on. I come from a background of where I really appreciate hearing what individual sound designers do and their individual styles. So I like to actually hear what they did. Now, some of them don't do shit with it. Let's be honest. I just watched that Nicolas Cage movie where he plays himself. That
the
Weight of Massive Talent.
Weight of Massive Talent. Yeah. I just downloaded that the other day.
And as far as Atmos goes, there's not much there. But it is a dialogue-heavy movie, and I don't really know that they necessarily needed it for that. But then you contrast that to something like Everything Everywhere All at Once, that has a pretty solid, constantly active Atmos track. So,
yeah, there's some. I mean, I guess I would have expected it from this particular movie, right?
Yeah.
It's the type of movie, a James Bond movie, that I would expect to hear awesome sound, right?
But they spend on, they get some famous person to sing the theme song. So that costs money. That takes time. Dolby Atmos is getting out there, quote unquote, into a larger audience. But let's be real, a lot of these movies just don't have a mix that stacks up, basically.
Well, and in the case of No Time to Die, this was the first Bond film in Atmos. And even when they moved to native 7.1, they still didn't really do much with it, because just the general sound of the Bond films has always been kind of front heavy. Now, that's not to say that they don't use it at all. If you watch, because Atmos is not just about heights.
Sure.
If you watch the opening scene where the car is spinning around shooting and everybody's shooting at the bulletproof glass, they're actually using that panning a lot around the room and in full range, which is something they really didn't do even with 7.1. They didn't push full range necessarily.
It's funny, because I did just Google best Dolby Atmos scenes in movies, and No Time to Die pops up, and I just started laughing because of Joe's video. I'm like, oh, really? But there are times when it's good, and you're right, it doesn't necessarily almost always mean high channels are in effect. Like the matrixing of spatial sounds bouncing around the room without heights is also part of it. I
would not put that movie in even the top 20.
I was so surprised to see it. So I was like, really? Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
looking at this this Facebook post in Youth Man's group, and you said, personally, I think this is you. Personally, I hope they do close up shop though. I'm tired of hearing about Oro seeing people compromise good Atmos layouts to support it, and having to see Wilfried Van Balen show up on every home theater YouTube channel once a year to try to save his floundering company. I know a lot of people enjoy Oromatic as an upmixer, though it doesn't do any actual logic steering, but to me, it's a glorified Hall DSP mode. I won't miss it. Come on, man. A Hall DSP mode, that's all it is?
It's a very advanced Hall DSP mode.
Man.
That's the content.
You're being real nice, and then you hope they close up shop.
Well, no, honestly, that's less about Oro itself than it is about the Oro fans who have like a series of charts ready every time you say anything about Oro. And
Series of charts. Oh well, first of all, I don't know. I think that we've had Wilfried on because I was just very interested in some of the stuff that he was saying. But yeah, I am keeping receipts, Aaron. I got the receipts right.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. Y'all made fun of me earlier.
The real husbands
of
HiFi.
So yeah, so this is what I mentioned last time. You're like, you don't want to see people compromise good Atmos layouts to support it.
Yeah, I think if you're able to do top, front, and rear, that is a better layout for recreating what they're actually trying to convey with Atmos, which would be the majority of the content here, because that's the compromise so that you have both the overhead and the steering between the two layers. Now, with Oro's layout, you definitely get the elevation between the ear level and the heights, but because of that angular gap above you, you kind of lose the overhead. Now, some of that comes down to the way Atmos actually handles the heights, because basically, if you've got two speakers, it doesn't matter if that height object is in the front of the room or the back, it's coming from that speaker. If once you move to four speakers, well, your forwardmost speaker would be 0, your rearmost speaker would be 1, and everything else would be a pan between. When you leave that large gap if you're doing 30 degrees forward, 30 degrees back, you leave 120 degrees above you, where it's not really going to image well.
I don't know. I would disagree. So, I think that you can't. There's not a lot going on perceptually there anyway. Your ability to perceive between there and there is low anyway.
Well, from a spatial resolution standpoint, absolutely.
Well, so I think where we kind of have a disagreement is, I think that there are. I end up watching very few things that have good Dolby Atmos mixes, right? So I've always told people I don't care that there's native Oro anything, right? I upmix pretty much everything. So I'm watching YouTube videos, I'm watching whatever, right? Listening to music, I usually upmix it because I like the way that sounds, right? So to me, that's the issue, is there's not a ton of good content. You're saying you kind of disagree with that. I think you've told me like, nah, I think you're exaggerating how much good Atmos there is versus bad Atmos. I really don't watch a ton of new movies. A lot of times movies I'm watching is like something Aaron or these guys recommended to me from a while back, right? And so they don't have Atmos. But Shauna, you watch a lot of new movies, right? Are there what percentage of content would you say new movies?
You don't want to add. You want me to add, I'd say 5 to 10%.
Okay, so all right. I mean, what do you say?
So some of you guys asked in the chat, like, where's this list that you were talking about where they say No Time to Die, and it's from what HiFi. I literally just googled it. 20 of the best Dolby Atmos scenes. Put your home cinema to the test. Scroll down. There's a picture of Daniel Craig in the car. like that's. So I don't know. a lot of people read what HiFi, and then a few others on LifeWire and stuff don't even mention that movie. So
Okay.
so yeah, I do download quite a bit
You
of
might be
new
able to make
movies.
an argument that scene is great,
Yeah,
but as a whole movie,
probably
Okay,
not.
so what percentage would you say of new movies, new Atmos movies have good mixes? Because Chana said 5 to 10%.
with
Maybe
the
more.
caveat that I buy a lot of movies.
Okay.
Honestly, about 80% of them are great to me.
80%. Okay. I think that's where the disagreement is, right? Because you're finding that the movies that you're buying have a lot of good content. So you're like, I don't know what these guys are talking about. But I don't know.
And I also watch a lot of streamed Atmos content as well. So, which there are some, compromises there too. But
that's a good poll we could do. We should do a poll. Like how many?
I'm pretty happy with it.
Like we should do a poll. Like, what percentage of new Atmos content do you think is mixed well? Kind of curious to hear what other people say.
As far, for me, the last like few discs that have been really outstanding are like 300 and Midway, and that's all for me.
Those are great.
So it also depends on what movies you're getting and what movies I like. Like Joe's like, hey man, oh well, I can't say this on the air, but I don't really watch all kinds of crazy like superhero movies because like that shit gets boring. Like, oh, okay, yeah, it's all predictable too. Like we watched one the other day and like I was just spouting off lines and all of a sudden the actor says it. I'm like, okay, I'm tired of this nonsense.
So I guess that's it. If the experience is 5 to 10% for Chana, for me it's probably even less because I don't watch a lot of new movies. Then you can see how for somebody like me, I can use Oro, right? It would make sense to me.
Yeah.
But if you're having an experience where you have 80% of the movies are good, well,
then
you're going to use that, right? I think that's where there's
and then we're just talking about like movie watching. I had this Pioneer, LX505 with Direct Live in the upstairs in the living room, and for DTS:X, Dolby Atmos, IMAX Enhanced, it sounded great. But when we're watching, like, because my wife watches a lot of TV, like I don't know what sound thing to put it on that makes it sound good, right? Like if I had Oro, I would mix it into Oro because that actually sounds great. Like some of these crap ass TV shows that myself and my wife watch, because some of it's real shitty, but like Love Island UK has great sound when it's Oro. When it's like regular quote unquote Dolby audio or whatever shit that's in the receiver, like it's kind of lame. So I like having the option. That's really all it is. I like having options.
I don't know that you're going to help or hurt that particular content one way or the other.
Sure. Yeah. It's just to me going through, like, because last night I guess the new season started showing, so we started watching it, and so I went through the audio things and I'm like, went through a few things and Oro sounded the best. So it is definitely personal preference. But me, just like my wife always says, like, I'm like, yo, we're going for 2 days. Why do we need 4 suitcases? She's, I gotta have options. So just like that, I gotta have options too with my sound.
Well, Jeremy, before you go, would you agree that Oro upmixing sounds pretty bad if you have the speakers in an Atmos layout?
I wouldn't go so far as to say bad, but it's definitely compromised.
Because I've heard it that way, and I'm like, ugh. I never got it because when I had mine on the ceiling, I'm like, what is Shauna talking about? This doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I think we all have to agree that everyone's home theater is compromised. Yeah. Everyone. Mm-hmm. Nobody has a perfect layout.
Yeah.
So, if you want to support RO, do the 30 and 30. Just as long as you're aware, you do have a bit of a compromise with the overhead. Everything's a compromise.
Yeah.
So it's just
I think that's
what
it.
the individual prioritizes is what matters.
Well, I'm always trying to optimize, right? I'm trying to look at both. Like, okay, so if I put it in this oral layout, it's less optimal for Atmos, right? But in my mind, if only 5% of the content is going to be in this great Atmos, in this Atmos format with a great mix, then it's like, well, I'd rather use oral with the up mixer for 95% of the stuff. It just makes more sense to me, right? But that's just for me, right? I don't know if somebody else has a different experience.
A chicken and the egg situation where, is your opinion of Atmos that way because you are hearing it on that layout as opposed to one that's actually done per those mixed room standards?
No, it's not that. It's more, my complaint is almost always there's nothing happening up there, right? It's not that, it's not realistic, because I've had an Atmos layout for a long time. And, sometimes I'll play some Atmos demos, right? And those sound really good. The ones with the balls go, I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about. That one sounds amazing. But it's more like when there's nothing happening up there, I'm like, come on, there's nothing happening. There's no sound up there at all.
Some of that comes down to the movie too. I mean, I think we all agree that both of the movies, A Quiet Place,
oh yeah,
outstanding Atmos tracks.
Oh yeah,
but they're not really active the whole time.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's kind of the point. When they do become active, it scares the hell out of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it depends. It depends on the movie. And I think a lot of people are looking for like a one-size-fits-all, they want it to sound like virtual reality. Not every sound designer is going to do that.
Right.
Okay. Well, I thought it would be interesting to talk it out a little bit.
I would agree with you that I do want them to do more. And I think the tools right now are relatively in their infancy. And I was
about to say that. We're only in 2022, 2016, kind of when the movies started, coming out in Atmos. Do we need to wait another 3 to 5 years, maybe longer, for I guess a certain level to be raised as, these mixing engineers actually have more time under their belt with these, Atmos mixes?
I don't know that you'll necessarily have to wait that long. A lot of it is less about Atmos as a platform than it is about the tools available to them in whatever they're mixing in, whether it's Pro Tools or Nuendo, because a lot of times there are third-party companies that create plugins that help automate this stuff.
See ya
later.
I think you'll see a lot more of those pop up that they'll be able to use that make Atmos sound a lot better.
Okay, so I think we've talked about this, how you're saying Atmos gives you the ability to place objects very precisely in a 3D space. And to me, that's cool, right? Especially in these movies that we're talking about, specific cases. But I find that the ability for Oro to kind of recreate the space, right? The reflectiveness of the space is more impressive to me.
It's more natural, you mean?
Well, just giving a height aspect to things, right? I've said it before, where if you're in a room, it's not a mystery as far as what the reflection should be. It's based on what the size of the room.
If you're in an enclosed space and you're firing a gun, like that gunfire is going to be reflecting all over that space, right?
It should. Well, so that to me is more impressive, or a better use of the height than, there's a specific, it's so accurate that this thing is happening up here. I don't know.
But you also have to take into account how movie sound is actually created. And when I say that, I mean, probably 90% of what they record on the day at a location, they throw away.
Right.
Because it's unusable. A lot of times the dialogue on the set there'll be extraneous noise from traffic or planes flying over, or
that has to be overdubbed anyway.
A good example would be Ford versus Ferrari. There's a scene where he takes Henry Ford to the end of the runway. There's a sound of a plane, and everybody complained, well, it's not in the heights. Well, no, because they actually recorded that on set. So they couldn't steer it to the heights. But then other parts of the movie, they did steer that sound to the heights because it wasn't production audio. It was something they added after the fact. So it's really sound design is kind of a dance. They have to figure out what they can use from what they recorded and what they can put there artificially. But when they're actually recording on that set, they record with stereo mics just to get a sense of what the environment sounds like, so they
like
can match
ambiance
sound.
right, like the ambient sound around there.
And going back to No Time to Die, when they shot that, they probably just put reverb on sounds because it's in a narrow stairwell. They probably never even occurred to them that anybody was going to want reverb from up above.
Sure.
So they weren't recording in that space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, there's that. There's probably a whole lot going on that we don't know about as far as the recording process. Somebody's asking, page 19 of Dolby Atmos Home Entertainment Studio Technical Guidelines PDF. Is this what Jeremy is referring to?
Page 19.
I don't even know what that means. I haven't seen this, so
I want to say that it actually starts a little earlier than that in the document, but
okay. But
it is
around
the
there,
home Entertainment Studio Certification Guide is the actual document. If you start, you can start around page 13 of that document and see what I'm talking about. The bottom line is basically that they make adjustments to where the heights go if you have elevated speakers on the bed level. So even if you have elevated speakers behind an acoustically transparent screen, that actually shifts the front heights back.
Okay.
Because you're trying to keep separation. Same goes for the side, same goes for the rear. So,
well, you know what? Let's do this. Contact me. I think that people really are interested in kind of getting a better idea of where to place their Atmos speakers. I think it really is complicated for some people.
It's
for
on the
me,
Facebook forums all the time. Where do I put my high channels? Where do I put my Atmos speakers? Yeah.
I get lost, honestly. When you're starting to explain it, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what you're saying.
It can get into the weeds, and that's why I try to help people on various forums, point them in the right direction. So,
well, contact me, and maybe we could do something to, maybe help some of these folks out, because I think you're right in a lot of the stuff that you're saying as far as where to place the speakers. I mean, I think you can help a lot of folks. So let's do this. Why don't you give me contact me, and let's see what we can do. Maybe
look out, Angela.
Okay.
Joe's gonna start getting some booty call texts at like 2 a.m. about Atmos.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's good talking, and
yeah, thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Hopefully we didn't bore everybody to death too.
I don't. You know what? This is what we do. I have Onto Red saying that he's doing yawn faces, Z faces, and I just said I'm not mad. Yeah. If it's boring, I get it. You know what I mean? I'm not here to entertain everybody. Yeah. Right. I'm entertained. I'm enjoying the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And 80 other people are here. They don't have to be here. So Onto Red, you don't have to be here. I mean, I would love it if you were entertained, but I'm sorry that you're not.
Are you not entertained?
I'm not. Yeah.
There you go. And
all righty. Hey, let's talk again soon. Thanks for calling in.
Man. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Take care, Jay.
Bye.
I know Junior OG did say this a couple of times, and Dolby Atmos in games is pretty awesome. And I would 100% have to agree, because and even Joe was saying it too, when you're playing the video game, there's no Atmos mixer. It's just like the sounds are happening in the game, where they're in front of you, to the left, to the right, behind, above, and then the receiver just figures it out and puts it there. I have that the binaural demo that I did here, and I'm purposefully, you can hear the plane flying over to the right, and it drops a bomb to the right, and then I turn, and now the bomb blast is in front of you as opposed to over on the right. Yeah, I did that on purpose so that you guys can hear like the spatial aspects of Atmos in a game. And man, I think some of the best Atmos is in a video game. But yeah, because we don't have to have a mixing engineer try to figure out what they want to put in the high channels.
Yeah,
the game's already doing that. So
Yeah, so Jeremy says Atmos in games gets the environmental sound from the middleware they use, probably the best use of Atmos. So basically, there's some software that says, okay, this is where it should go based on this, this engine.
Based on where the character is, right?
Where he's at. And then it converts it so that it's in Atmos format, and that's what you end up hearing. So anyway, I think, we're not trying to be.
Tristan loves the Atmos booty call. That text. Sorry,
Gary says
I've
Jeremy
been drinking the
Anderson,
champagne a little too much here. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand that it's very technical, some of the stuff that we're talking about here. And I also get that it's not for everybody. I did a poll where I asked, like, how many people are interested in this super technical stuff? And it's like a funnel, right? If you start basic and just kind of like, keep it surface level, you'll get more people. There's more people in that funnel. But the more specific you get, the less people who are going to be interested in that. And I understand it's just that right now, that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in this level. Like if we're talking about just basics with speakers, then I get bored, and that's not good. So we'll compromise. We'll try to keep it basic too, and sometimes we're gonna get a little bit technical. So I think that's it. Easy, guys, easy. Yeah, be nice to everybody.
Yeah. We can talk about all kinds of.
I'm going at onto Red the same way he coming at me. So if you can,
look,
you gotta be able to take it too.
Like,
right?
Look, can't we all just get along?
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
But
After show.
Let's talk about bows.
Who said that?
Ike said that.
Oh man. Oh man.
So P Green, what is this? P Green brings up does bring up an interesting topic. My issue is, especially with streaming, is over 90% of content, especially legacy content, will never be put in Atmos. Yeah, and that's a good thing. I saw a lot of like albums on Apple TV in Tidal that were it's like Beatles Revolver in Atmos. No, dude. No, what is that going to be? Because I know that they're going to take the 4 or 5 stems and then try to put sounds above. No. Atmos, new stuff, like that's where it's at. Like all the older things are not going to get Atmos, and they shouldn't. In my opinion, they shouldn't. If they try to, it's probably going to be some, half-baked idea.
I actually like the old school Beatles tracks where they have like hard pan, the voices are over here.
Yeah.
Instruments are, I'm like, that's how they record it. I'm like,
oh,
I don't mind it.
I do have one that's in DTS 5.1. That's great. Yeah, I forget which Beatles album that is. Yes, true voice of reason. I am dating myself. It's 83 degrees, dude, over there.
Getting hot over here.
It's getting hot. It's getting heated with all this Atmos talk. It's getting heated. I'm at 67 over here.
You're at 67.
67, yeah. So
getting shiny over here.
Yeah. Whew. Sweating it up. Great discussion. Thank you again, Jeremy, for your insight and understanding of this whole Atmos thing, because we are still I still think we still have a little ways to go as far as
I like that guy. I like that guy, and I think it's about trying to understand, right, the other another person's perspective. A lot of times it's so easy to this guy's totally wrong. But if he's finding that most of the movies he's watching has great mixes, I get it. I can see it from his perspective. Yeah. So
I know you're just waiting for that Atmos booty call text.
Atmos booty call. Yeah, I'm waiting.
You're gonna be hitting up Jeremy at like 2 a.m.
No, you know what? I'm
about Atmos.
I'm always thinking business, man.
Angela's like, who are you texting?
If I don't get it, if I don't get what he's saying, most of the time I'm like, I bet a lot of people are also confused about what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So why not just send him a picture of your layout?
Oh no, you're sexting now.
Oh, okay. Is that where we're at right now?
Woo!
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been a great show. You guys, if you want to join into the after show, make sure to go to patreon.com/daily HiFi, become a patron, and you will have access to the video chat that Joe and I will be jumping into just after this show. Hey, Matt Buckmaster, I can't accept that comment. That one is going to stay hidden, but yes, exactly. Pictures of his layout.
Oh, you guys are crazy. You guys are crazy.
This is so good. Call me now for hot Atmos action. Oh yes, we're getting into the gutter pretty quickly over here.
That means it's time to go to the after show.
Time to go to the after show.
Join us there.
Yes, join us in the after show. And if you guys are not patrons and you are watching us for the first time on the replay, perhaps don't forget about the audio only version of the podcast. And yes, Juan, I'll tell Joe about the math equation.
Okay, math equation. Okay.
Yeah. 1 + 1 = Atmos.
All right.
Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. We do this every Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on the Daily HiFi YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe up, and we'll see you next time. Peace.